James Creedon's here. Hi there, James.
Good evening, Laura.
Good to see you as always.
Likewise.
We're starting down in Lyon because a newspaper there has come out with a very controversial report, basically breaking down groups of criminals or alleged criminals by their racial group.
Which is illegal because France, from a 1978 law, bans ethnic and racial profiling. So there you go. They're just clearly flaunting that rule. Let's take a look at Le Progrès de Lyon's front page graphic today. That's the logo of the newspaper. So delinquency and organised crime, everyone has their activity depending on what group they belong to.
Are we on it? British and the Irish?
No Irish and no Brits for now. But Georgians and Albanians are apparently into a bit of burglaring,
right?
And if you want for stealing of iron and steel and all that kind of stuff, it's usually the Roma and travelling groups.
Right.
For armed robbery, it's local groups from housing projects, drug addicts and others. Right. You can see the type of prostitution. Then it's usually
petty
Africans,
crime,
Romanians.
Locals,
You see the type of thing we're talking about here, Laura. So obviously, and lovely little graphics as well to accompany it.
What are they basing this on exactly?
They're basing on it because, well, first of all, you don't have statistical, ethnic or racial profiling in France.
I was going to say, it's illegal in France.
So apparently they rang up the local police and said, so, based on what you've seen, what do you think? Right? And so it was based on that, but also on a police reports that track the flow of gang-related funds to particular countries. So you can follow the flow of money, which will give you an indication of, if it is gang-related, where those funds are being funneled to. It might be another European country, for example. But in any case, clearly the reactions were very critical. SOS Racisme, which, as the name suggests, is an anti-racism NGO, they are taking court action. The Young Socialists were amongst the first to react, the youth wing of the Socialist Party, saying that the Le Progrès had to apologise, which, in fact, they since have done. But for the Front National, how do you think they reacted, Laura? Florian Philippot said he les a félicité. He said, look, congratulations, this is great. It's important, he said in a tweet, they did their work and reminded us of the impact of mass immigration.
The importance of racial profiling.
That's right. So there you go. A nice little bit of, what would you say? Racism, really, or at least support for xenophobia, for ethnic profiling anyway, at the National Front. Well done.
Right. Good day's work for journalism. Indeed. Okay, all right, let's move on. The feminist activist group Femen have been doing what they do best, i.e. taking their tops off and running around naked.
That's right. So while Florian Philippot was preparing his tweet, which was congratulating Le Progrès for their fantastic infographic, Femen were outside their campaign where they were launching their European elections campaign, reminding them that from Femen's point of view, the National Front is quite simply fascist
with the body paint
extremism. There. So there you have a little European flag reimagined in the form of a swastika. So why
have they done the European flag? If it's
because I think it's just a reference to the fact that they're starting their campaign for the European elections, and so they're essentially
sounds like they're calling Jose Manuel Barroso a fascist.
Well, I think it's more directed at the National Front in this instance. But what's interesting, the irony in all of this, is that for the National Front party, for Marine Le Pen, the European Union is totalitarian.
I was going to say, yeah.
Right?
They've kind of done her job for her, though.
So, you see, we're getting into this sort of relativist zone here where everybody has their own definition of what fascism is and what counts for it. And you'll see that nowhere better than in Ukraine.
Yes, I was going to say, yes.
Where, in fact, this article today on Mashable.com, you've got Putin as Putler, and you can see there that they're clearly referring to Hitler. But so that's one point of view. But then over in Donetsk, you have posters featuring the new interim president, as with the swastika on his head. That's Mr. Alexander.
So basically, everybody's calling everybody else a Nazi.
Calling everybody else a fascist, with varying degrees of legitimacy for that terminology. It's all very confusing at the moment, Laura, I have to say, and because if we don't have the same definitions for what fascism is, then how can you
I think people have to go a long way to be as bad as Hitler, in my personal view. But anyway, it's an insult that is perhaps thrown around a little lightly these days.
I think so.
Let's move to the Vatican now, something a bit different. Pope Francis will be having a new neighbour now. We know that the Pope does not like bling and ostentatious displays
cross.
of Welsh. Oh, does he really?
That's right. No gold cross. No.
Iron cross.
That's all passé now.
He's a Jesuit, isn't he? So
that's right.
That's his thing. Guy next door though, he's going all out.
Now, Bertone is his name. He's
the Puff Daddy of Catholicism.
That's right. Now, he was also a hot favourite to actually become Pope. He's moved into an apartment next door to the Pope. Now, the Pope is in a very modest 2-room, 70-metre squared apartment. Bertone has a 700-metre squared apartment, which is
that's not on,
absolutely
is it?
enormous. And
You're not embarrassed.
he has to house 3 nuns, apparently, who also work in his kind of service. So
He's got 3 servant nuns and a 700-metre squared apartment.
And take a look at how it's being featured on Twitter. Here he is with a little kind of, what would you say, a little tractor type thing to get him around the house. Other people saying, oh, bling bling, while others... You see the whole thing with the new papacy is about a church for the poor,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
So there you go. Mr. Bertone clearly flaunting that.
I don't think the Pope will stand for that for long, will he?
No, he's apparently furious.
door.
He's apparently furious about it.
Muppies and the new yuppies.
That's this is the new word that is taking the internet by storm. Muppies are the new yuppies. That means millennial yuppie. So fair trade coffee. Everything is done by the internet. They're tweeting while they're watching Game of Thrones. So out with the yuppie who is all about corporate success and drinking Starbucks. They drink fair trade coffee and they want to climb a ladder made of reclaimed wood, apparently.
Brilliant.
But if you type muppie into Google, it's actually Muslim urban professionals. So there seems to be some...
bit of confusion. Are you a muppy? Do let James Queen know on his Twitter feed.
You could be a muppy who's a muppy.
Brilliant. All right, James, thank you very much. Informative as always. Thank you.
Thanks,
well, back to our papal theme for tonight's focus.